With winter in full swing, and after having a week straight in the negatives, we decided to brave the cold and escape the confines of the house in an attempt to embrace the more beautiful locations Tasmania has to offer. We left Lonnie mid-morning while everything was still frozen, stopping in at Campbell Town for a pie and a coffee on the way through to try thaw ourselves out a little bit. After a rather sketchy drive through a frozen mountain range, we got to our accommodation in Swansea on the east coast safe and sound. Isla had been asking to go to the beach for weeks, so we headed straight out when we arrived to burn off some of that cooped up toddler energy. Conveniently, as we got there, some of the locals were setting up a brand new beach library, which she got straight in and tore it all apart. We couldn't pull it away for hours. She absolutely loved it and we weren't complaining because it was the perfect spot for our second lunch and a bit of a relax for the afternoon. There's so much wildlife along the coast to see, you'd be hard pressed to not at least spot a seal floating around. Or maybe I just seriously lucked out in that department because I saw a few. After a beautiful sunset, followed by another stunning sunrise, we headed over to Raceway National Park, stopping at Coles Bay to have another pie or two, while soaking up the view of the hazards. We then moved around and did everyone's bucket list walk to Wineglass Bay Lookout, which as usual was gorgeous. If you have the legs or youth on your side, I highly recommend summiting Mount Amos for sunrise at least once in your life. I pulled my old man up there a decade ago, and even if he pitched and whinged the whole way, it's something we both won't forget anytime soon. On the way back out, we stopped in at Cape Tourville to check out the lighthouse perched on the side of these stunning coastal cliffs Tassie's famous for. After that, we topped it off with some seafood, followed by some ice cream before heading home. For our next outing, we headed west to the Trowunna Wildlife Sanctuary, if I said it correctly. Located just outside of Mole Creek, this place is a real little gem. It's not so much small, but more so the perfect size. All the animals are there for either rehabilitation or to eventually be released. Breeding programs, well, some cannot be released as they won't survive in the wild, so instead, the sanctuary gives them a chance to live the best quality life possible. They have some interactive and very educational shows with their rangers on Tasmanian devils. During this, they let you pat a hand-raised one before feeding a group of them a complete possum and allowing you to watch them devour every single piece of it while listening to the absolutely horrific symphony of sounds these little beasts can produce. While they do make some ghastly noises and look incredibly aggressive towards each other, these guys aren't really that angry. It's just how they express their feeling towards each other. Ain't love grand? They also do the same kind of shows for wombats. They have this little rescue baby whose mother was killed in an accident, so he's hand raised and loves the attention. It's seriously like a little puppy, and cute as they come. Just make sure you watch your fingers or it might give you a little love bite. However, they don't just stock the classics. There's heaps of mammals in this joint. You can't walk anywhere without a kangaroo or wallaby hassling you for food in this place, which I'm sure the tourists will absolutely love. They also got a large variety of birds, which is always nice to see. Overall, the whole sanctuary is a pretty cool stop, and more than worth supporting the cause if you're in the area. Off we headed back down south for round 2. First stop was Richmond. You seriously can't go to Hobart without stopping in this town for a look. Most importantly, it's got a lolly shop. All the old buildings you could conjure up, and I suppose the 200-year-old stone bridge goes pretty hard. But seriously, what a town. On the way through Hobart, we swung past the Cascade Brewery, which is Australia's oldest functioning brewery and is responsible for much of our beloved Australian pub culture. From there, as low cloud and rain was expected over the next few days, we decided to head up to Mt Wellington to soak up the views of Hobart before it vanished, which it did so within about 60 seconds of being on the boardwalk. It was also about 1 degree Celsius with wind chills, so we didn't stay much longer than that. The next day was rainy and miserable, so instead of sitting at home sulking about it, we decided to make the most of it and caught the ferry over to Bruny Island. Even if we didn't get the best views all round, especially at the neck, it was a cool atmosphere to experience. I can't wait to head back down and spend a couple of solid days there in the future when the sun's shining. Obviously because of the weather I didn't do a tremendous amount of filming while around Hobart, so aside from our dinner at MkII, this is about all I got. On our way back north, we swung into a random town called Oatlands while looking for a quick rest stop. I randomly headed for what looked like a lake on the GPS, skipping the town hoping there should be some toilets on the esplanade. My spidey senses were on point, and fortunately we found one just in time for the old fella. And as a bonus, there was a pretty cool playground right next to it for a bit of a break. Obviously I seem to get a bit jiggy over old buildings, and this town was no exception. So while Haley was getting amongst it, I walked over to check out the old windmill, and I was a little blown away with what I found. Turns out the entire town is absolutely stunning and full of loads of historic buildings, so it was right up my alley. Just make sure you do the detour if you're ever driving down the Midland Highway. After getting home and being cooped up for 24 hours, we decided to head up the river for the day and see what we could find. We ended up in Low Head at the northernmost point of the Tamar River and found a cool old lighthouse. Just FYI, half of these trips are spent either driving or in playgrounds eating pies. So I don't always do a heap of filming, so some of these sequences might sound a little bit meh, but that's what you get. As I said earlier, winter has arrived and snow was on the radar. So we shot over to Ben Lomond National Park to get Isla her first glimpse of the snow. And I tell you what, she was not a fan. It was far too cold for the tropical North Queensland born offspring. And honestly, it was way too cold to film with sideways ice, so this is about all I got for our short trip anyway. As we're heading off for a couple of months to the States and Canada at the start of September, we've been attempting to knuckle down and save every penny we can, as it's going to be a pretty big one. But luckily, some tickets landed in our lap for the Supercars, which allowed us to fill in some time while simultaneously having our eardrums massaged by dozens of naturally aspirated V8 engines flying full noise down Symmons Raceway. We're about to head over to Vic for a week before we leave, so that's about it on the travel vid side for a while. I can imagine on return I'm going to have way too much footage to know what to do with, so I wouldn't expect any of them until sometime in the new year. But when the time comes, there will be a ton of them, and I'm confident they'll be pretty damn epic. Aside from that, I do have a couple of vids finished that are scheduled over the next few weeks of some more random little projects that I've been working on. In the meantime, enjoy!